Dear Lord, I thank you so much for this day, and I pray you would just bless the speaker and help him to just guide us and give good insight into the things that will directly be affecting us in the upcoming years as we choose our career path. I pray you would just give all of us safe traveling to wherever we're going for Easter, whether it's around Lynchburg or back home. I pray you would just help us all to finish strong in the rest of our semester and listen attentively to the speaker. Amen.
There's some handout material I set over there, the VSCPA, if y'all want to pick up a couple of those and take a look at them. It's got some good information in here. There's a student membership application, which I'll touch on too and talk a little bit about. CPA exam requirements. Is everyone in here planning on sitting for the CPA exam as soon as we can? Or?
Yes.
Okay. I hear. I've been out of school since 2009. Went to work at the firm I'm at now. I was kind of in a different situation than a lot of people, but I'm a partner with the firm I'm with now, and I've taken over for one of the founding partners who retired. So that's kind of a different aspect that a lot of people run into, which is fine, But anyway, I hear a lot of people a lot of times say, well, I'll just take the CPA exam to see how it is, take it first time, see what it's about, and maybe study later. That's not a good idea. Because all that is a waste of money, unless, your parents are paying for it, But, when you take the CPA exam, and I would really strongly recommend that you all do that, whether you're staying in public accounting or going out into industry, if you have a CPA license, you pretty much can write your ticket about anywhere. So I would highly recommend that. And it's a lot of study required. It's tough. It's 4 exams, and 4 different tests to study for. And I recommend you try and study for that and take it as soon as you can after you graduate while everything's still fresh in your memory, because the longer you stay, and you've probably heard this many times before, but the longer you stay out, it's going to get tougher to remember things, and you're going to be busy either with work or something else. So if you don't get anything else from what I say today, take my advice on that, because that's crucial there, and especially if you're in public accounting. If you're not a CPA in public accounting, you really can only go so far up. You're almost hitting a ceiling at some point, but that's really important. I don't know if I introduced myself, but my name is Michael Mayhew, and I'm a partner with Sneed Williams and Mayhew in Danville, Virginia, about an hour south of here. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Danville much. Economy is not quite as good as up here in Lynchburg, but I've been there since '09, since I graduated. I graduated from Lynchburg College here in Lynchburg, just right across the way there. I had a good experience there. Was able to intern with a very small firm here in Lynchburg. I think I tried to get some internships with some larger firms at the time. I think when I was in school, I don't even think they did as much intern interaction as they do now, which is great. If you can get an internship, at one of the larger firms here in the area, like Brown Overage, Cherry Becker, or even a smaller firm in the area, it's a really good experience. And employers look at that. If you have an internship on your resume, that sets you above someone else, especially. So, but Molly Walsh was going to be here as far as presenting the VSCPA information. She couldn't be here, so she asked me to present that. I was here last year, and I don't know if any of you were in the class last year when I came and spoke, but I kind of came in behind her at that time and talked about kind of education to career transition, that type of thing, which I'll touch on that too at the end. But starting off here, I just have some things to talk about the VSCPA. If you have any questions at all, feel free to just ask while I'm talking. You don't have to wait to the end or anything like that. But is anyone in here a member of, or a student member of the VSCPA? You are, okay. And then there's an application in this packet here that you can fill out, and it's free, so you don't have to pay for anything, which is great. And this also looks really good on your resume, being a student member of the VSCPA. And I believe you can be a student member of the AICPA as well for free. And they look good on a resume, and employers look for that. So that's a good thing to have. And it's some really good resources out there. If you go on the VSCPA's website and check it out, I don't know if any of you that are student members, is anyone on this Connect by any chance? This is kind of like a social media type thing the VSCPA set up, almost similar to a Facebook page almost. You go on Connect, and I believe if you're a student member, you can do this. But you go on here and you set up a profile, and you can, as I said, kind of connect with other professionals or other. And a lot of professionals are on Connect that are with other firms, and I expect they'll probably be using it. If they're not already using this to recruit and to look out there at prospects, then I expect they would be within the next by the time you graduate, probably. So that's probably a good thing to do if you want to get on Connect here through the VSCPA. There's a lot of student resources. This little flyer here, scholarships. I believe the deadline to apply for one of the scholarships was April the 1st. So if you missed that vote, you might have to wait till next year. And they have a career center. And another important thing that they wanted me to stress is the Leaders Institute. Has anyone heard of that? Or been possibly? Has anyone applied for it? The deadline to apply is April the 17th is the deadline to apply. Yeah, April 17th is the deadline to apply for that. You got to be a rising junior, senior, GPA 3.0, accounting major. I assume everyone here is accounting major. If not, since you're here. But I went to the Leaders Institute back in 2008. I was a rising senior at the time. It was at UVA. It was a really good experience. If you're looking for to go somewhere where you can interact with other employers, that's really, when I was there, the Big Four were there. A lot of regional firms were there. Cherry Beckett was there. The FBI was there. IRS was there. They had a lot of different employers. They had one specific night dedicated just to almost like a career fair, where you would walk around these different booths, and they'd give you your business cards, and you might give them some information. And which at the time I wanted to stay local where I was at, but if I wanted to go to Northern Virginia or anywhere, Richmond, Hampton Roads area, they had connections all through there. I know I had a guy from Ernst & Young that wanted me to come and interview with them, but I didn't. But so that was, to me, it was probably the most important thing about that Leaders Institute, was because you could actually go and talk to a lot of employers. When I graduated in 2009, the economy was really bad. No one was hiring just about. I think I was lucky to get where I was at, but it's a lot better now. So you should have a much easier, I guess, time finding a job now. But with an accounting degree, you can go about anywhere. And accounting firms are always looking to hire people, especially the big ones, Big Four. The FBI looks to hire accounting majors. Law students and accounting students are the two top ones. At least that's what they would tell me when I was coming out of college, is what the FBI looked to go after. So that's kind of neat if you want to go that route. But VSCPA's got about 11,000 members in it. It's a lot. They do a lot. VSCPA does a lot of advocacy work as far as going to the General Assembly in Richmond, and when you get into, if you get into the VSCPA, they'll try and get you to interact also, and they might push you to do different things as far as interacting with other people, professionals, doing what I'm doing, coming around talking to different classes and that type of thing. You can create a really good network of people by being in this. And it's kind of like with anything else. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. If you're just a member, you're not really active, you're probably not going to get a lot out of it. And but if you're a member and you're active and you network with people and go to these different like the Leaders Institute, for instance, there's different things that the VSCPA hosts. You'll really get a lot out of it. You'll probably be surprised at how much you will get out of this. And like I said, just being a student member, just if nothing else, looks good on your resume when you're applying for jobs. And you know, as far as why to join, there's a lot of volunteer activities, gaining leadership experience that they do. Of course, there's a lot of support going on for the profession. When I mentioned before, Connect. If you're not on Connect, that's a really good place to start if you want to get on Connect. And you can actually look around at other professionals' pages, get on Connect with them, and that's probably a really underutilized resource there. And probably it's going to get bigger as it gets a little older. So that's about it as far as the VSCPA goes. Does anyone have any questions just on that in general, on the Virginia Society of CPAs or the AICPA or that type of thing?
As a senior graduating in May, am I still eligible for the free student membership?
As far as I know, you are. I don't know why you wouldn't. Now, another thing on here I'd point out too, if you look on this membership guide here, these discounts that they give you for these CPA exam review courses. I took Kaplan's CPA review course, and I don't know if any of you have been looking at that. I mean, you said you're a rising senior, you're a senior now.
Senior now.
Senior now. As far as I know, if you're still in school, you can get a free membership. So I definitely would recommend doing that. Yeah, sure. I can have one of these. Now, I don't know if any of you have looked at CPA exam review materials. They're pretty expensive. Very expensive. And you can get, I don't even know if these were available when I was graduating or not, but up to $300 off the back of the course. I don't see Kaplan on here, but I'm a pretty big advocate for Kaplan. I'm sure you've seen Kaplan commercials as far as Kaplan Online, that type of thing. They do a CPA review course. These other ones probably have something similar, but on Kaplan's course, you can go online. They have online classes with instructors. Throughout your study time period, you set up a schedule pretty much as far as a calendar, and they pretty much tell you what to study for each day. You kind of set it up and kind of arrange it the way you want it. If you set up and say, well, I want to take the weekends off studying, I just want to study during the week, then they'll kind of tell you, okay, this is what you do Monday, Tuesday, and so on. It was really good. It really helped me. I passed my exam all on the first try, and I don't know if that's a testament to Kaplan or just that I studied like crazy, but I didn't really have a life for about a year, to tell you the truth. That sounds like, well, that sounds like it sucks. But I mean, you really got to go in and study hard for this thing, and it takes a lot of studying to pass this thing. I had a life, but I had to study a whole lot, and some of you might be smarter than me, so you might not have to study as much, but if I was to kind of just recommend any course, I would highly recommend Kaplan if you want to take that, because like I said, I passed it all on my first try, but that's difficult to do. I know I've worked with some people and know some people that have been taking it for a long time and just cannot pass it. And so don't discount the CPA exam as far as, just like I said before earlier, it's like, well, I'll just take it and see how it is. It's difficult and you've got to study for it, but it's just like any other exam. You're used to studying now. So if you study hard enough, anybody can pass it. It's very passable. They kind of explain it to you as being like a river that's about a mile wide but only about a foot deep. They cover a lot of different topics just in every section. But for the most part, they're not going to be really complex questions as you might think it is. So it's more of a broad range of things you have to know as opposed to, you're probably not going to get a really, really difficult, in-depth question, or not a lot of them anyway. Is there any question on CPA exam?
I'll be graduating with about a semester's left of credits to get to the 150.
Yeah.
I'm looking to work full time after graduation.
Okay.
Would you recommend focusing on passing the exam first and then getting the credits?
Well, I know I worked with a guy that did that. He came out, which he was out of school for a while, and he fell in that time period where when he graduated, he didn't have to have the 150. Then they upped it, so he went back later and got the extra credits after he studied. So it more than likely, it probably is going to be easier on you to study for it right out of college, pass it, and then go back and get your other credits. Because as long as you meet the specific accounting credits they have in here, as far as I know, you can take about anything to get to that 150, which I expect that they'll probably change that at some point. Because the way they're going now, it looks to me they're trying to transition or push people to eventually get a master's degree before they can sit for this. Because you could graduate. I know when I graduated from LC, you only had to have 120 credits to graduate with an accounting degree, but you got to have 30 more to get licensed, and you can still sit for it. But you got to have 30 more to get licensed. And those 30 additional, once you meet the other, I don't know if it outlines, I'm sure it outlines it here, how many credits in each. You have to have so many accounting, so many business credits. If it doesn't outline it on here, you can go on the Virginia Board of Accountancy's website and it breaks it all down for you. But most accounting courses, curriculums in colleges, they normally gear it around towards making sure you have your accounting credits and everything squared away before when you graduate. And I assume that's the way it is here. You have enough. You already have enough, but you still have to take that additional, probably 25, 30 hours. And to me, it's kind of and that's in Virginia. That's not everywhere. So at least it isn't. When I graduated, some states you didn't have to have 150. I think it was Vermont or Delaware. You could still have 120 and still get licensed because the states mandate, what your licensing requirements are, and you normally have to have 1 or 2 years of working experience before you get licensed too. Normally, you just have someone your superior working for sign off on that. But I think you'd probably be better off as soon as you graduate, study for it. Okay, pass it, and then go back and get your other. Because I wouldn't waste any time once you graduated. I mean, take some time off, enjoy graduation, but go ahead and study if you want to get a CPA license, which I highly recommend you do. Okay.
To get to your 150, did you just take admin courses, or did you try to pursue a master's, a BA?
I didn't pursue a master's. I actually got 150 in 4 years. One of the reasons how I got that is because I got credits for my internship. I'm assuming Liberty does the same thing. They give you credits for your internship. Because I got 12 credits for my whole internship, and during that 4 semesters, because it was my junior and senior year, the whole way I interned with the firm. So I think I got 3 credits a semester there. And that helped me out a lot. And I had to take some summer classes to get that bumped up, but I was pretty motivated to get my 150 when I graduated. And I don't know if I'd recommend that or not, because it was pretty tiring to do that. So, and it's not a bad thing if you don't do that. Well, like you said, you can still go back. But I tried to take as many accounting courses as I could, because I took governmental accounting, which wasn't required, and I think I had accounting information systems, which was not required. And at the time, we had a white collar fraud class that just started, but I wasn't able to take that. I had some conflict with. Those 2 classes, for instance, were required. I took them anyway. Disliked governmental, but that's about all I work in now. As far as I know, is governmental auditing. So, small governmental agencies, large governmental agencies, small local governments. The bulk of my audit work is governmental. Any other questions on that? CPA exam, anything?
I'm sure there is, of course there's value to having an MBA or a master's, but, speaking, in terms of being in a firm and working your way up, how much value does that add over the CPA or having it together kind of thing?
The main thing is getting your CPA. If somebody has a master's degree in accounting, PhD in accounting, and you got a CPA and they don't, you're already above them. Okay. When you get into public accounting, they're going to value that CPA above anything else, no matter how high your degree may be. So, but a master's in, like if you were to get an MST, like master's in taxation or master's in accounting or MBA, all that looks good. So if that's something you want to pursue, if you're kind of have the mindset as, well, I want to get my 150, but I don't want to kill myself in 4 years to get it, maybe go a couple more years, then I would definitely recommend pursuing some type of master's degree. Get an MBA, MST. I don't know, does Liberty offer an MST?
An MSA.
An MSA, okay. So that's, any of those I think would look good. And then, pursuing your CPA after that. So, but I think it's probably more important or more heavy if you get into like a larger firm. Like if you went to work for one of the big four or just a larger regional firm, having a master's degree plus a CPA would look good because especially if you go to work for one of the big four, there's going to be just slews of CPAs in there too. So anything you can do to make yourself look a little bit better is definitely going to help you. Yeah.
As far as like the timeline after graduation, so is there ever a point, like, say if you graduate and you don't start working in public accounting right away, you do something else, but you still work and you pass that exam and you work towards getting that credits, does that exam ever like expire if you don't meet the other like educational and the work requirements?
It doesn't expire if you don't meet those. You'll have the sections will expire. I think you have 18 months. Like if you pass regulation first, you've got 18 months to pass the other three, or else that one expires. So that's the only expiring thing. But if you pass all four of them, you're good. You're good, and Virginia makes you pass an ethics course to get licensed. I think pretty much every state does that now. You got to have an ethics course, and then it was either 1 or 2 years of experience that you have to have in Virginia to get fully licensed. But no, it's not going to expire if you once you pass all 4 parts, you're good as far as not having to retake anything.
The ethics course, I have not taken that just because I figured I could check. Because I was thinking of registering for this semester, I actually found out that it was recommended. I could have taken it like they had last time.
You mean like a class, and
I haven't
that's
taken a
class?
class.
This is Virginia has like a set. Actually, they make you take the AICPA ethics course. It's open book. You download the material offline, and it's open book. It's very many questions, but no, it's not actually like a class. Now, once you get licensed, you have to have 2 hours of ethics CPE every year to stay licensed.
Virginia doesn't require like a 3 credit.
No, Virginia doesn't. Not to my knowledge. Now they don't require an actual class. It's just after you pass those 4 parts, you take that ethics class, whatever they call it. And like I said, when I did it, Virginia just took the AICPA's course, and you download the material off the AICPA and pay for it.
Okay.
But that's easy. Okay. That might take you a few hours or something one day. As opposed to which, when studying for the CPA exams, a lot of people will ask me how many hours, and I know this sounds worse than it is, but I would really recommend studying about 100 hours per section. You got 4 sections, okay? So you're looking at 400 hours probably total study, unless you got like a photographic memory in each room. That's about what I studied, with about 100 hours for each section. And I don't know if that was overkill or not, but I passed it all my first time. So, I know a lot of people. I would work with a girl, and she'd be like, "Well, I'm gonna study this weekend. How long you been studying?" "Well, I hadn't studied any." Okay, good luck. She didn't heck us. Okay, I'm just saying. You really, it's just as far as putting the time in to do it. And you kind of my advice to you would be to get with a good review course. Any of these are going to be good. Becker, Glenn, I've never heard of, I know I've heard of a surgeon, but I didn't know they had a course there. But Becker has historically been really good. Gleim has historically been good. Kaplan, that's really good. So get on a study course, and it'll probably set you up with maybe like a probably 10-week study plan type of thing. So I mean, if you think about it, if you study over a 10-week period, and you get in 10 hours a week, that's 100 hours. So that's what, a couple, 2-3 hours a day, maybe, with a couple days off. That's not that bad. And but I mean, when you look at it all together, you're like, man, that's a lot. And after you take it all, pass it all, you look back and you're like, yeah, that was a lot of work, but it's well worth it. But as far as working, I know you're saying we'll work somewhere else, or I mean, I guess I'm biased since I'm in public accounting, and some of the professors might tell you the same thing, but if you come straight out of college and you go work in public accounting, especially if you work in public accounting for maybe 3 to 5 years, and you have your CPA license, you can go almost anywhere you want to go. Because a manager with our firm just left. He had been there about 5 years, had a CPA license. He's pretty much the assistant controller for a pretty large co-op down in Southern Virginia. And I think he's going to be making somewhere probably around $80,000 or more a year with benefits. And so I mean, that's pretty good for that area. Now you go to a large area, you can make more money. You go up to DC, Richmond, Raleigh, North Carolina, large areas, you can make more money. But anyways, that just gives you an idea. But I'd probably recommend you go into public accounting, unless you just hate it for some reason. Then
It's more just trying to get into it, and we don't have like one lineup for everything.
Yeah.
Start after graduation. I definitely see the value in public accounting.
have you started interviewing now, or you have?
Yeah, I've been applying.
All right, well, that's good. I mean, you can, if you're open to go anywhere, I mean, you're not going to have a problem finding a job. Okay. I mean, if you, like me, I wanted to stay local. I had a tougher time. I had one offer, which is firm right now. It worked out great, but I had that one offer. As opposed to if I went around to different areas, I probably would have had more. Because I went to school with a girl that her junior year, she had a job lined up with Ernst & Young. So they had already lined her up. And she lived in Pennsylvania, somewhere out there. So, I mean, it's not out of the question to line up anything with these larger firms, if that's what you want to go after. And if you go into public accounting and you dislike it, public accounting is not for everybody. Public accounting, depending on what firm you go work for and what field you're in, they'll work you pretty hard. So just letting you know, and you'll work hard, and which you would probably ask her as far as with Cherry, how's tax season at Cherry Becker? And you're gonna hear war stories about the tax season of the firm I'm at is tough. It's a lot of work. It's not as heavy. I mean, well, as far as relative to the size of our firm, I guess it probably isn't. Relatively speaking, it probably is. I guess as heavy as Cherry Becker being larger, having more going on. But the tax seasons are tough. And if you're an audit, they'll work you hard in an audit too. But you get a lot of people like public accounting. A lot of people don't like it. But I mean, it's definitely a good field to go into, and if nothing else, to get a lot of good experience in public accounting. 'Cause you get exposed to just a wide variety of clients if you're with a firm that does a lot of that. We do everything from Department of Labor, ERISA audits for employee benefit plans, large governmental agencies. You're doing single audits, OMB Circular A-133 audits. So we audited a few manufacturing facilities. It's a lot of small nonprofit organizations, and then we do a lot of tax work from everything from a small farmer to a multi-millionaire client, large companies, small companies, partnerships, trusts, estates. I mean, we do a wide variety of that. If you go to work for a larger firm, I mean, I'm not speaking from experience, I've worked for one, but normally if you go with a larger firm, they're probably going to put you one way or the other. You might just be in tax, you might just be in audit, or if you're in a large enough area, you just might be focused in one area of audit. You may do just governmental audit, and that's and nothing else. But I've gotten a really good, well-rounded experience with the firm. If you go for the smaller firm, you'll normally get exposed to probably a lot more of just different clients more than anything, as opposed to just being focused on kind of one set, if that makes sense. Any other questions on that or anything? Yeah.
You mentioned you worked on like a governmental account. Is that more your preference, or is it just how your career would go?
That the firm, when I came into it, was already doing the partner that I've kind of followed through. The bulk of his audit work was government, and so that's just kind of how it fell. And when you're working for if you work for a small firm, you're going to find out that firm is probably going to be more of a generalist firm as far as just doing anything and everything. And a lot of that is based around just trying to get as much revenue in the door as you can. Okay? As opposed to if you work for a larger firm, they might just have a strict governmental practice. Like if you would work for KPMG out of Richmond or somewhere like that, you might do nothing but governmental audit work. They probably have a governmental practice and a governmental partner and a senior governmental manager, just tiered down just in that their one governmental unit might be twice the size of our whole office. Nothing wrong with that.
It's interesting. A lot of us are in a government not-for-profit class right now.
Okay.
We've just been studying some of the differences. Up until this course, I really haven't had any experience with it. So the fund and the government-wide financial stability is going to be.
Yeah. And as far as experience goes, when you graduate and you're thrown into a real world experience, because you're going to be put somewhere, either on an audit somewhere, auditing payroll or looking at cash disbursements for half the day or something, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn probably what you learn in college probably only encompasses maybe 20 to 30% probably what you're going to learn. Once you get out in the field, that's when you learn the bulk of. You may think you know a lot when you get out. We just hired a girl, and at the beginning of tax season, and just a smart girl, but you could tell she kind of thought, she not knew everything, but just knew a lot, as far as doing stuff, and then you start reviewing her work and hand her back, a list full of changes to make. Burst your bubble. So don't go in when you go into work somewhere. Don't go in there thinking that you're the hottest thing out there and you know everything, because you have a lot of learning to do once you get out of college. Okay? It's a lot of learning. The majority of your learning is going to happen once you graduate. You learn debits and credits here in college, and once you get out in the real world, you figure out that the accounting they taught you in college isn't the same as the accounting you're doing out there. Especially when you get a client that doesn't know how to reconcile a bank statement or thinks they're reconciling, is pressing a button that says reconcile on QuickBooks, or doesn't know a debit from a credit. Because if you're working with a small firm, working with small businesses, that's the bulk of what I work with is small businesses. They don't know much of anything about accounting. So you have to kind of come in behind them, clean it up. That's where you really learn accounting, is when you come in behind one of these small mechanics that doesn't know anything about accounting, and you have to clean up his work before you can even do a tax return. That's where you learn accounting, and that's where you learn to be a good auditor too. You can't be a good auditor without being a good accountant. You really have to be a good accountant in order to be a good auditor, to know what you're looking at. Because like QuickBooks, for instance, I took an accounting information systems course in college, and we went through a whole tutorial in QuickBooks, and it helped out a lot. But in the firm that I interned with, had a lot of clients that did work with QuickBooks, and so I learned a lot there too. But you kind of got to, once you know what the debits and the credits, you kind of figure QuickBooks out as far as what that type of thing is. Does anyone here, have anyone ever had any exposure with QuickBooks or anything like that?
We're doing it in our accounting information system.
So you have an AIS class then, okay. And QuickBooks has its own way of doing stuff. And in my opinion, the person that made QuickBooks ought to be hit in the face because they market a product that they say is the easiest thing to work with ever, and they give it to non-accountants and they don't know what they're doing. And they go in and just make a mess of things. QuickBooks is great if you know it well. And you having an AIS class that goes through QuickBooks, that's good because you're going to learn a lot about QuickBooks. And if you work with a lot of small businesses, the bulk of them, that's what they're going to use is QuickBooks. And but I mean, really, QuickBooks is great if you know what you're doing. But I know the majority of small business clients that I work with, man, they really make a mess of things, and you have to go in and clean it up. And like I said, that's where you really learn a lot about real world accounting there. I mean, the accounting that I've got a friend at church. He's thinking about going into accounting. I think he's decided against it now, but I think he's at CVCC. But I've been helping him, a couple different times with some work and stuff, and and they teach you the proper way, to do things. And just from me being away from it for a few years, going back and looking at it, I was like, I wouldn't have done it that way. He's like, why they got you doing it like this? You got to do it the way they say, But as far as accounting by the book, that's great. If you go to work for like Ford Motor Company or somewhere like that, I mean, you'll probably see that type of accounting. But you go to work for a small firm and work with these small clients, and you just see a different side of it. And and I enjoy it. I enjoy helping small businesses, interacting with clients, and a lot of times, especially if you're in a small firm, that's the one thing that's probably going to set you apart from everyone else is client interaction, being able to maintain clients, manage clients, go out and get clients, and that is something that you can't really teach. I mean, you can kind of learn it, but if you can go out there and not only be a good practitioner in what you do, but be able to have enough personal skills with people to interact with these clients to, understand what they do and how to explain to them what to do and help them out. That really is what sets you apart from anybody else out there. Because there's going to be tons and tons of people out there that can, I can hire anybody to come in and do a tax return for data input into a tax return, or reconcile a bank statement, or just something, do some audit work, look at some cash disbursements, audit payroll. But being able to take that kind of the next step as far as client interaction and people skills, that's something that's critically important, not only in accounting but in any profession. And you'll find that too, because you'll have some people you're going to work with, and you're obviously going to be like a recluse, and they're going to be back in their office and they're going to pop their head out or anything and just crunch numbers all day long and have nothing to say. And you don't have the polar opposite of that. You're going to have people that are going to be great with probably clients, great with people around the office, but or not very good practitioners. But you can if you can find a space in between that where you're a good practitioner and a good as far as having people skills to work with these clients every day, that's where you really have a lot of success, especially if you work with a small firm like I work at. But as far as the transitioning, from college to the real world, I guess you would say. For me, it really wasn't that tough. It's a learning curve involved, and if you're interning somewhere, that's going to really help you more than you think as far as preparing you for that next step. And that really gives you an edge above somebody else that maybe does not have an internship. So I really would recommend that you try and get an internship if you can, either in the summer or, you're probably not going to be doing much tax work in the summertime, but you might be doing something. And if anything, you might get your foot in the door with a firm that they come in, they like you, graduate, you might be able to go work for them. So that's another plus.
We talked about the requirements to get to be licensed as a CPA, and you need that 2 years. Is it 2 years experience under?
It's either 1 or 2. I can't remember.
Virginia is one.
Is it
1
1
year
or Virginia?
under a CPA. Now, let's say you pass your CPA exam and you don't have that experience yet. Are you given like a provisional license or a temporary license, or are you just not licensed at all in any sense?
No,
Until
usually
you
you
get
don't
that
get unless I'm wrong on this. But the way it was when I got mine, which wasn't that long ago, you pass and you're just kind of your license is pending more or less at that point. All right, you passed your exam, and now you got to meet an experience requirement and the education requirement if you haven't already. Which more than likely is probably going to take you, even if you pass all 4 parts on the first swing, it's probably going to take you about a year's time to knock out all of those. So if you're already working either in public accounting or in industry at that point, you're probably going to be pretty close to your experience requirement by the time you pass anyway. Okay? And you may just have to have the education to go back and take underwater basket weaving or something to get you. To me, that's kind of silly that they make you take an extra 30 credits. That's why I think before too long, within the next few years, they're probably going to say, well, you need a master's degree. Or they're going to up those accounting and business credits to a point where you have to get a master's degree. I know a lot of colleges now, their accounting programs are 5 years. And when you finish that 5-year program, you've got your 150. And one of the last courses you take, I think, is a CPA exam review course. I think that's what Virginia Tech does, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure about UVA. But, in a lot of courses, and I've heard people criticize Virginia Tech's accounting course as far as they're really geared it toward just you passing your CPA exam as opposed to just teaching you accounting, but that's true or not. I don't know. And I don't know how. And I've heard a lot of success through LU's accounting program, so I think you've got a good accounting program here. I've heard a lot of good things about Liberty. I know when I was at Lynchburg College, the accounting program was good. So you're at a good place as far as that goes, and you're taking a course that is really, really marketable. So as far as 4-year degrees go, which obviously I'm biased, but this is probably the best one you can get, especially in business. Everybody wants accounting. I've got a friend who graduated with a finance degree, and he's jumped around jobs several times, and he finds himself having to go back and they want more accounting, more accounting. What's your accounting background? That's what people look for. But accounting's not for everybody, and you probably know. You probably have a lot of students that they either love accounting or they hate it. They don't. So it's not for everyone, but it's, in my opinion, the best as far as 4-year degree you can get, as far as being marketable, because everybody wants accountants. Yeah.
Professor Steyer had said, and I wasn't sure if you made it at this point last week when you came, maybe just a partner. He tells me a bit about the film. He says you only work about 5 years.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm probably an anomaly. When I came, I was blessed to be in the position I was at, and not everybody's going to get that. The main thing I can tell you is if you have an opportunity in front of you, you better take it. Okay? And just because seriously, because you may not have it on. I came into a small firm, and both the partners are aging, but one was older than the other, and I hadn't been working there too long, and I started passing my exam, and he started talking to me about, he said, he wanted to retire, and he wanted someone to come in behind him to pretty much buy him out at some point and take over for him. And that's how it kind of fell into place. And so I had the opportunity that I could stay there and, grind it out there and eventually move into that position, or, go somewhere else, probably make more money somewhere else. I stayed where I was at, and it paid off greatly for me. And hopefully going forward in the future it'll pay off, even more. But that type of opportunity, not everybody gets that, and I understand that. So, but I mean, you might still have a similar opportunity that presents itself that may be different than mine, but if you get that opportunity, you really need to take it. And that could be in any form. That could be with another big company or with a small business you go to work for or a small firm. But yeah, I mean, I've been working there since 2009, and I've taken over for him, and I think my buyout with him will last probably about 7 years or so. But long run wise, it's worked out well. But I think if I was probably at a big firm though, or even a bigger regional firm, I'd probably be like a manager level at this point. Okay, so if you want to think more in terms of, you know, what would happen if you went with a bigger firm after about, let's see, 09. So I've got, well, including my internship experience, I've got close to 8 years of experience or so. So with that level of experience, with a larger firm, I would probably be either a manager, maybe a senior manager, just depending, but probably at a manager level. And a lot of your bigger firms, when you're talking audit work and that type of thing, the partner is not going to go out in the field that much. They might be out there some, but you're going to have a manager out in the field, other staff, working under that manager. And with our firm, I mean, the partner is really more actively involved as far as what goes on out in an audit, as far as being out in the field and managing the work. And that's really just kind of more of a design of the firm more than anything. But we do a lot of different work at our firm is quite a bit different than a lot of other firms, and which, for one thing, being in Danville, the economy's not as good. People who live in Danville or graduate from somewhere in the Danville area, they go somewhere else. A lot of them don't stay in Danville. And that's an issue Danville is trying to fix. Okay, Lynchburg, you probably don't have that much of a problem. Being since Liberty's so big, a lot of you probably, any of you from Lynchburg area, or a lot of you from, anybody here from Lynchburg? Most of the people I went to school with in Lynchburg College, like Pennsylvania, Vermont. I don't know what Lynchburg wants to recruit all these Yankees for, but they bring down all of these. I had a lot of good friends in Lynchburg. I'm just joking, but most of them that I went with them didn't go to Lynchburg. They come down from school, going back somewhere else, go to New York or Boston, Baltimore, or somewhere. I probably have a good, as far as market in Danville. A lot of Danville's CPAs and CPA firms are aging, getting old. They're getting out of business. So if you're young, coming into Danville, it's a pretty good opportunity. The availability of CPAs and really good practitioners in Danville is shrinking. So that means my competition is shrinking, getting older. Or else they're merging with other firms.
Goodman left, right?
Yeah, Goodman's gone. Goodman left last year. And one of my audit clients, it's a Fortune 500 company in Raleigh, but we audit their employee benefit plans. I think Deloitte audits the company itself, but they have 6 employee benefit plans. We audit all of them. One of the guys on the investment committee that we work directly with used to work at Goodman in Danville, and he described it to me as them being kind of like the black sheep of all the other Goodman offices. So I don't know if it was an issue inside that office or if they just couldn't do, it takes a different dynamic. Our size now, we can't go out, we don't have the resources to go out and audit Ford Motor Company or General Motors or somebody like that. We're not capable of doing that, at least not now. At least we'd have to grow a lot. But at about the same token, KPMG or Price Waterhouse Coopers, they couldn't come in and handle the small clients we handle, at least not with their fees. I mean, they probably have a staff member at KPMG's rate is probably $150 an hour as far as billing rate goes. So that's what we specialize in, is handling small business clients.
What's your staff billing rate?
What's that?
What's your staff billing rate?
Mine now is, I think, like 180, and ours is probably high, to tell you the truth. Our entry-level staff billing rates, with the entry-level, like the girl that just started, her billing rate's like 85 an hour.
Jerry Becker's on 150-ish here in Lynchburg.
For
Entry-level staff.
For an entry-level staff? Yeah, so see, you can see just the economies of scale from Danville to Lynchburg. And about the same thing. I mean, if you're working for a larger firm, you're going to make more money. But you might also be in an area where the cost of living is through the roof. I don't know if any of you from DC. Anybody try to drive in DC ever? Okay. Or Northern Virginia. I was in Fredericksburg a couple of years ago, and people were talking about Northern Virginia. I said, I thought I was in Northern Virginia, Fredericksburg. They call Northern Virginia like Arlington, right around DC. I don't like driving in that. I've been up there before. And some people like it. That's great. The partner that I took over for was a former. He went to work for Price Waterhouse Coopers. Well, when he went out first, it was something totally different, and they merged. But Price Waterhouse Coopers is who it eventually became. But he worked out of the Baltimore office, and all he did was audit work. He stayed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana for like 13 weeks out of the year. So I don't think it's that bad anymore. I don't think they grind you as bad as that. But if you work for a big oil company, as far as audit, they'll send you all over the place. Or even with internal audit. The guy I was talking about earlier with the company in Raleigh, he started off in internal audit when he went to work for them. And they're a worldwide tobacco company. So he was going, they gave him, he joked with me and told me that they gave him a laptop and a program and just shipped him all over the place. He said he'd be at home a week or two and then he'd be gone for several weeks. He said he'd be in Bangkok, Thailand eating steak and his wife and kids were at home eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, so that was pretty tough on them. But, so depending on who you work for, it can be difficult. But small firm like our firm, it's not as demanding as other firms. It's probably not as demanding as Cherry Becker or maybe not Brown Edwards, or especially not a bigger firm. But I mean, it's still a lot of work. We put in 60 to 70 hours a week during tax season, and that's not that bad compared to other firms. Not that bad at all. But other firms in our area that really do nothing but tax, I mean, they may be 70, 80 plus a week. But then during the summer, they might do nothing. Just about. We get Fridays off. Harris Harvey and Needle in Danville takes Fridays off outside of tax season. Only work 4 days a week.
I think that's an excellent.
But that's tax. If you want to kill yourself during tax season, working 7 days a week, it's tough. I'm telling you, it's tough at our firm. And our firm's tax season is not as heavy as others. And no, I'm not trying to scare you or anything, but I mean, tax season stuff, you'll hear a lot of war stories about it.
I have a family member who works for one of the big four, and she's focused in tax in Virginia Beach. And she's like at this time right now, Sunday, my brother's at home hanging out, and she's at work.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
I've had to go in our firm doesn't require staff to work Sundays. You can if you want. I know since I'm in the position I'm in now, if I want to get my workout, I didn't work last Sunday, but before that I had worked pretty much 3 straight weeks without a day off.
I've seen it just like people who do like go to the big four and things like that, like they love it. Like they love that life and that like the work that they're doing.
And
stuff
yeah,
like
a
that.
lot of people
And
like
it's for
it.
them kind of
Yeah.
thing. So.
And like audit, for instance, I mean, some people just love traveling all over the place. That, if you want to travel around, I mean, go to a lot of different places, working for a big four firm and going into audit, you definitely do it. Tax, you're more just confined in, doing that tax work. Public accounting is just phenomenal experience as far as what you get. You go online and look at some of these bigger, at least when I was in college and would do this, like look at who Ariba wants to hire or BMW or any other bigger companies out there. If they're looking for a like senior level, management level person that needs to be a CPA, they'll a lot of times put in there, they want you to have so many years with a big four firm. Maybe 3 to 5 years, big four, CPA, not a minimum. Not to say you have to have that for anything, but a lot of them look at that. Anything else, or anything else you want me to? No, I've been. It's been about an hour or so. I don't know how long y'all wanted to listen to me talk, or we going to talk about tax returns. I know she was talking about doing 1065s earlier. Talk about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.